If you're afraid of what's in this note, you should be even more afraid of what happens in this diner every day. The waitress's words hang in the air as she slides a folded paper beneath the plate of a man sitting alone in the corner booth. His expensive shoes contrast with his deliberately casual clothing. He freezes, coffee cup halfway to his lips. At 6:17 a.m., the diner buzzes with activity. Staff move differently around different tables, rushed efficiency for some guests, warm attention for others. The man's eyes narrow. He didn't expect to find anything on his first visit. When the waitress turns away, he unfolds the paper with steady fingers. His face transforms from curiosity to shock. The coffee cup rattles against the saucer as he sets it down. What did he just discover? James Wilson stares at the framed photos lining his new office wall. His father's smile beams from each one opening day of the first Wilson family diner in 1985, the 10th location celebration in 2000, Community Service Awards. A yellowing newspaper review hangs prominently. Wilson Diners, where everyone gets a seat at the table. James traces the faded mission statement plaque with his fingertips. Good food, fair wages, equal opportunity. Your father built something special, says Lisa Chen, the HR director, placing a stack of folders on his desk. He would have wanted you to take over, even if it wasn't the plan. 3 weeks ago, I was designing buildings in Chicago. Now I'm running a diner chain because my father had a heart attack. James sighs. I haven't worked here since college summers. Your father made sure you were prepared, whether you knew it or not. Lisa opens the top folder. These are the quarterly reports he would review personally. James flips through pristine spreadsheets and colorful graphs. Everything looks fine. Better than fine. That's what the executive team will tell you tomorrow. Lisa's expression tightens. But there's something else you should see. She opens her laptop and navigates to employee review websites. The screen fills with contradictory reviews. Best management I've ever worked with. Flexible scheduling. Great advancement. Directly below, unfair treatment depending on who you are. Certain people get better shifts, pay, opportunities. What am I looking at? James asks. 2 different experiences of the same company. Look at the dates, both current. Lisa clicks through more reviews showing the same pattern. And look at this. She pulls up staff turnover reports. White employees stay 40% longer than minorities. Promotion rates show similar disparities. This started about 3 years ago when your father stepped back from day-to-day operations. Robert Miller took over as regional manager. My father never mentioned problems. He started noticing patterns just before his heart attack. He was planning an investigation. Lisa hesitates. Your father believed in treating everyone equally. I'm not sure that's happening anymore. James stares at a staff photo from 15 years ago, diverse faces, genuine smiles. He compares it to the current management team photo, predominantly white, polished, corporate. In his father's desk drawer, James finds handwritten notes. Check payroll categories. Schedule audit. Scholarship approvals. The company's public image is perfect, James says. Award-winning diversity initiatives, scholarship programs my sister runs, community outreach. Image and reality don't always match, Lisa says quietly. James's phone buzzes. The executive team has arrived early for tomorrow's meeting, eager to meet the new owner. Give me an hour, he tells Lisa. I need to see something first. Later that evening, James sits in his hotel room, laptop open to more employee reviews. The pattern is unmistakable. He creates a spreadsheet tracking key complaints, scheduling issues, section assignments, pay discrepancies, promotion denials. He clicks through location photos on the company website. Each shows happy, diverse customers, but looking closer, he notices management is consistently less diverse than the communities they serve. James opens the company's anonymous reporting hotline records. Most complaints from minority staff were classified as misunderstandings or performance issues. My father built this chain on equality and opportunity, he mutters. So why am I seeing two different companies in these reviews? He books visits to 3 locations over the next week. No announcements, no preparation. If something's happening, he'll see it himself. James closes the laptop and stares at his father's worn leather day planner. The last entry, written the day before his heart attack, truth matters more than comfort. James arrives at the West Side location at 11:30 a.m. peak lunch rush. He chooses a small table with a clear view of operations and orders a simple lunch. 3 servers work the floor, 2 white, 1 black. The black server, Sarah, according to her name tag, moves efficiently between tables in the far corner. The other servers handle the prime central sections. A middle-aged man enters, and the host immediately seats him in the central section, though several tables in Sarah's section sit empty. 2 minutes later, a family with small children arrives and gets directed to Sarah's area despite available tables elsewhere. James notices a pattern forming. Business professionals get central tables with the white servers. Families with children, elderly couples, and minority customers predominantly go to Sarah's section. Sarah maintains a warm smile despite juggling more tables than her colleagues. She spends equal time with each guest, regardless of appearance. A short, balding man emerges from the back office. His name tag reads Robert Miller, Regional Manager. He surveys the dining room with calculating eyes before approaching Sarah as she inputs an order at the terminal. Table 12 has been waiting 3 minutes for drink refills, he says, loud enough for James to overhear. I'm just finishing this order, then heading there next, Sarah responds professionally. Table 12 gets the express service protocol, not the full welcome. Know your customers, Sarah. Robert's voice drops, but James can still make out the words. They're not going to tip well anyway. Sarah's shoulders tense, but her expression remains neutral. Yes, sir. As Robert walks away, Sarah's gaze follows him, a flash of controlled anger in her eyes before she composes herself and returns to work. 20 minutes later, a young black couple enters. The host glances at Robert, who makes a subtle gesture. They're seated in Sarah's section despite open tables elsewhere. Is that table available? James overhears another customer ask, pointing to a central table. I'm sorry, that's reserved, the host says smoothly. James watches for another hour. The reserved table remains empty until a well-dressed white couple arrives without a reservation and is seated there immediately. When James pays his bill, he leaves a generous tip and his business card with a note. Impressive service under difficult circumstances. The next day, James arrives at the east location dressed more casually. He sits at the counter where he can observe the manager's office through a small window. A scheduler is posted just inside. James watches as the assistant manager makes adjustments, moving certain names around. James recognizes Sarah's name being shifted from a Friday night slot to a Tuesday morning. Sarah requested Friday for her class schedule, a young server at the counter mentions to another staff member. Doesn't matter. Robert's new optimization system overrides requests. Priority staff get priority shifts. And we know who that is, the other server mutters. James visits the north location the following day. He notices a weathered business card tucked on the community board with equal pay printed above a hotline number. When he asks about it, a server quickly changes the subject. In the restroom, James overhears 2 managers talking. Corporate's visiting next month. We need to adjust the schedule visuals before then. Already on it. I've got the 2 separate templates, the official one for corporate and the real one we use. James slips into an empty booth and opens his laptop. He searches company records for schedule templates and finds 2 different files with similar names. One shows perfectly balanced shift distributions. The other, restricted access, but accessible to him as owner, shows dramatic disparities. Sarah enters, looking exhausted. She's carrying textbooks alongside her server apron. A business management textbook sits on top. Robert approaches her immediately. You're late. I'm 10 minutes early, Sarah says, showing him her phone. New policy as of today. Servers need to be 15 minutes early. It's posted in the break room. Sarah's jaw tightens, but she nods. I'll adjust my schedule. As she walks to the break room, James notices a slight limp her worn shoes providing inadequate support for long shifts on hard floors. The weathered equal pay business card falls from her book. Robert watches her pick it up, his eyes narrowing. Making trouble isn't a good career move, Sarah, he says quietly. Some people fit our brand image better than others. That's just business. James has seen enough. It's time for a closer look inside. Back in his hotel room, James spreads printouts across the bed. Employee handbooks, training materials, pay scales, scheduling protocols. Highlighted sections show contradictions between stated policies and observed practices. He researches employment discrimination laws, making notes on his laptop. Pay disparity based on race/gender, illegal. Discriminatory scheduling, violates labor laws. Promotion bias, actionable under civil rights statutes. Scholarship, discrimination, potential lawsuit. The more he digs, the more alarming patterns emerge. But suspicion isn't proof. James calls Lisa. I need someone I can trust, someone who knows employment law. The next morning, James meets with Anita Patel, the company's outside legal counsel, in a private conference room downtown. What you're describing could expose the company to significant liability, Anita says after hearing his observations. But proving systematic discrimination requires documentation. If I demand records, they'll sanitize everything, James responds. You need unfiltered access to daily operations, Anita agrees. What are you thinking? I go undercover. Work as a server for 2 weeks. See what happens from the inside. Anita raises an eyebrow. Risky. If you're recognized, I've been gone for years. Dad kept me out of company publicity. Only the executive team knows what I look like. And if you find evidence, then I clean house. James's voice hardens. My father believed in fairness. I won't let his legacy become discrimination dressed up as business efficiency. James works with Lisa to create an identity. Mark Stevens, a new hire with restaurant experience but new to Wilson Diners. She arranges placement at the West Side location where he first saw Sarah. I found something else, Lisa says, opening a folder. Your father began an internal audit 3 months before his heart attack. He was tracking discrepancies in scholarship approvals and promotion patterns. The folder contains spreadsheets with red question marks beside rejected applications, predominantly minority candidates. Many had qualifications equal to or exceeding approved applicants. Dad knew something was wrong, James says quietly. He just didn't know what. I won't let his last project die with him. In his apartment, James lays out his disguise. Glasses, subtle hair color change, casual clothes different from his usual style. He practices a slightly different speaking pattern, dropping his voice a half octave. He studies the employee handbook, training materials, and service protocols. 2 versions exist for many documents, the official corporate version and a supplemental version distributed selectively. James meets with Lisa again to review his cover story and receives his uniform, name tag, and employee ID. Mark Stevens stares back from the plastic card. Robert visits each location weekly, Lisa explains. He won't recognize you, but he pays attention to new hires. Good. I want to see how he operates up close. James, Lisa hesitates. Your father suspected problems, but he died before confirming anything. If you're wrong, and if I'm right, how many people have lost income, opportunities, dignity? James shakes his head. I need to know the truth. Before starting, James practices at an unaffiliated diner across town. He orders food, observes service patterns, even busses a few tables to get comfortable with the movements. He visits a discount shoe store and buys the same brand of affordable work shoes he noticed many servers wearing. They're uncomfortable after just an hour. On Sunday evening, James sits in his car outside the West Side Diner, watching staff change shifts. Through the windows, he sees Sarah leaving, shoulders slumped with exhaustion. Robert exits minutes later, getting into a luxury sedan while checking his watch impatiently. James calls his sister, Emily, who runs the company's scholarship program remotely. Em, what do you know about the scholarship approval process? The committee makes recommendations based on applications. Robert has final sign-off since Dad stepped back. Have you noticed any patterns in who gets approved? Not really. I only see the final selections. She pauses. Why? Just getting familiar with all our programs. James hesitates. Have you ever met Sarah Johnson, server at West Side? No, but the name sounds familiar. Maybe an applicant? Can you check, discreetly? The next morning, Emily texts, Sarah Johnson, applied 3 times, excellent qualifications, rejected each time. Note says, not right fit for leadership track. James's resolve strengthens. He reviews his research one final time. Scheduling patterns showing minority staff consistently assigned less profitable shifts. Pay scale discrepancies of up to 30% for identical positions. Promotion rates showing significant disparities. Scholarship rejections following similar patterns. Customer seating protocols with coded language about service levels. Everything points to systematic discrimination, but he needs irrefutable proof, the kind that would stand up in court if necessary. James calls Anita again. If I find concrete evidence, what's our next step? Document everything. Recordings in single-party consent states. Photographs of schedules, pay information, any written policies. We build a case before confronting anyone. And the staff affected? Potential back pay, promotions, policy changes, but first, you need evidence beyond observation. James practices using his phone's recording app discreetly. He purchases a digital recorder disguised as a pen and tests it in various environments. The night before his first shift, James calls Lisa. I start tomorrow. Orientation at 9 a.m. Be careful, Lisa warns. Robert's developed a loyal inner circle. Not everyone will welcome questions. Any last advice? Watch how information flows. Who talks to whom? Which staff get pulled aside for special instructions? And James? Yes? Your father would be proud. He built Wilson Diners to be better than this. James looks at his father's worn leather planner on the nightstand, the last entry still visible. Truth matters more than comfort. I know, he says quietly. That's why I can't look away. He sets his alarm for 7 a.m. His first day as server Mark Stevens begins tomorrow. If his suspicions are correct, he's about to witness firsthand how discrimination operates beneath a veneer of corporate values. As he prepares for bed, his phone buzzes with a text from Emily. Found something weird in the scholarship database. Call me when you can. James's investigation has already uncovered more questions than answers, but tomorrow he'll start finding the truth from the inside. Welcome to the Wilson family. The orientation leader's enthusiasm feels rehearsed as she addresses the 3 new hires. For over 30 years, we've built our reputation on quality food and equal opportunity for all. James, now Mark, sits attentively, noting the diversity poster on the wall featuring smiling staff of various backgrounds. Beside him, a young white woman and middle-aged Latino man listen as the leader distributes glossy employee handbooks. These contain our official policies, she explains. You'll also receive supplementary materials from your shift managers. The morning proceeds with standard training videos emphasizing customer service and company values. James notices no obvious red flags. Everything appears professional and inclusive. At lunchtime, they're introduced to their training partners. Mark is assigned to shadow Brian, a white server with 4 years' experience. You got lucky, Brian says as they enter the dining room. You're with me in the premium section. Best tips, best customers. James observes as Brian efficiently handles the business lunch crowd. Tables turn quickly, tips are generous, and Brian moves with confident authority. How are sections assigned? James asks casually. Performance metrics, Brian replies. Top performers get central sections. Management tracks everything: speed, check averages, customer complaints. Seems fair? Brian smirks. Let's just say some people fit the premium service profile better than others. After lunch, James is reassigned to shadow Sarah. The contrast is immediate. Her section, mostly families and elderly couples, requires more physical work but generates lower checks and tips. Sorry about the chaos, Sarah says, efficiently clearing a table covered in children's meal debris. Family rush is always intense. Despite having more tables, Sarah spends equal time with each guest. Her service is impeccable, warm, professional, attentive. You're really good at this, James comments. 3 years of practice, she says with a tired smile. Same section for 3 years. During a brief lull, James notices the difference in her training approach. While Brian emphasized speed and upselling, Sarah focuses on genuine hospitality. Everyone deserves good service, she explains, no matter where they're seated or what they order. In the break room, James observes staff naturally segregating. Brian sits with other white servers, discussing weekend plans and prime shifts they've secured. Sarah eats quickly while reviewing a textbook. Business management? James asks, sitting across from her. 1 semester away from my degree, she says. Been working on it for 5 years. That's impressive. Would be faster if I could get consistent scheduling. Her smile tightens. Or if the company scholarship came through. An assistant manager enters, posting an updated schedule. James watches staff reactions: disappointment from some, satisfaction from others. 3rd weekend shift this month canceled, a black server mutters nearby. At least you had weekend shifts to cancel, another responds. James notes names and patterns, mentally calculating the financial impact of schedule manipulation. Prime shifts can mean hundreds of dollars difference in monthly income. That evening, James volunteers for closing duty. After most staff leave, he observes Robert meeting with shift managers in the office. Table assignment protocols need tightening, Robert instructs. Premium customers get premium servers. It's about brand experience. What defines premium? One manager asks. Use your judgment, Robert responds, his tone making clear further questions aren't welcome. And remember, schedule optimization continues. High performers get priority scheduling. Through the partially open door, James glimpses a filing cabinet being unlocked. Robert removes a folder labeled Performance Metrics Internal Only. On his 3rd day, James discovers 2 different tip-sharing systems. Officially, all support staff receive equal shares. Unofficially, certain servers' sections have higher service demands requiring larger percentages of their tips to be shared. It's basically a tax on certain sections, whispers Miguel, a busser. Sarah might earn less in tips to begin with, then has to share more of what she makes. By the end of the week, James has documented numerous discrepancies between official policies and daily practices. He discreetly photographs schedules, section assignments, and tip distribution sheets. During his 2nd week, James arrives early and observes morning shift assignments. Robert stands beside the host station, coffee in hand. Table 7 VIPs, Robert murmurs to the host, indicating a well-dressed couple entering. Brian's section. Minutes later, an elderly minority couple arrives. Section 5. Sarah's area. James is assigned to shadow different servers throughout the week. The pattern holds: white servers consistently receive higher value sections and shifts. In the break room, James discovers a weathered copy of Supplemental Training Guidelines that someone left behind. Inside, coded language outlines different service standards. Premium guests. Table visit frequency, high time per visit, extended. Standard guests, table visit frequency, Medium time per visit, efficient. Basic service guests. Table visit frequency, minimal. Time per visit, transactional. No explicit racial classifications appear, but the example scenarios make the implications clear. On Thursday, James overhears a conversation between managers. "Corporate audit next month," one says nervously. "Relax," the other responds. "We'll use the official schedules and records. Robert's got it covered. He's done this for years." Late Friday night, James volunteers for inventory duty, gaining access to the office area. While organizing supplies, he discreetly examines the performance metrics folder left on a desk. Inside, employee photos are attached to evaluation forms. James notices the evaluation criteria changes subtly between different employees. White servers are rated on efficiency and sales performance. Minority staff face additional criteria: cultural fit, communication clarity, and customer compatibility. Sarah's file contains excellent performance reviews with a recurring note: not suitable for premium sections due to guest preference patterns. As James completes his second week, he's gathered substantial documentation, but still lacks the smoking gun that would make the discrimination undeniable. On his final scheduled day, James works a morning shift with Sarah. She looks particularly exhausted. "Everything okay?" he asks during a quiet moment. "Schedule changed again. Lost my Tuesday evening off, the only time my business management class meets in person." Her voice remains professional, but frustration shows in her eyes. "Third time this semester. Can't you request accommodation for education?" "I did, 3 times. Sarah manages a tight smile. "Some requests get approved. Mine never do." James notices Robert watching them from across the room. When Sarah moves to another table, Robert approaches. "Mark, isn't it? How's training going?" "Learning a lot," James replies carefully. "Good. Remember, this business is about understanding where people fit best." Robert's tone is mentoring, but his eyes are calculating. "Some staff just work better in certain roles than others. It's not personal. It's business optimization." That night, during closing duties, James overhears Robert on the phone in his office. "Scholarship committee meeting next week. We have the usual applicants?" "Yes, several diversity candidates. Looks good on paper." "Don't worry. I'll make sure the right selections advance." "No, nothing that would raise flags in an audit." As James leaves, Sarah is waiting at the bus stop, textbook open despite the dim light. "You're dedicated," James comments, stopping beside her. "Have to be. 1 semester left." She hesitates. "Can I ask you something, Mark?" "Sure." "Have you noticed anything off about how things work here?" James chooses his words carefully. "Some patterns seem unusual." Sarah studies him for a moment, then makes a decision. "If you're interested in patterns, I have something you should see." She tears a page from her notebook. "My number. Text me if you want to know more." As James walks to his car, he glances back. Sarah stands alone at the bus stop, straight-backed despite her exhaustion, still studying in the fading light. He's seen enough to be certain. Now he needs the irrefutable proof that ties it all together. 2 days later, James meets Sarah at a coffee shop 3 miles from the diner. She arrives carrying a weathered messenger bag, her expression a mixture of determination and caution. "Why did you want to meet?" James asks after they've settled at a corner table. Sarah studies him. "Because you notice things. You ask questions most new hires don't." "I'm curious by nature." "It's more than that." She leans forward. "You watch the managers, the schedules, the seating patterns, like you're looking for something specific." James maintains his cover. "Just trying to understand how everything works." "Then let me show you how it really works." Sarah glances around before unzipping her bag. "I've been documenting things for almost 2 years. She removes a manila folder and slides it across the table. "I shouldn't be showing you this. I could lose my job, but someone needs to know that we're not crazy. It's all right here in black and white." Inside, James finds meticulously organized evidence. Paycheck stubs paper-clipped in pairs. Similar dates, identical positions, significantly different amounts. Some show disparities of nearly 30%. These are real paychecks, Sarah explains quietly. Same position, same seniority, different people. James examines the evidence, heart pounding. This is exactly what he's been searching for. Irrefutable documentation of systematic discrimination. How did you get these? People talk, compare notes. At first we thought it was just perception, but then we started sharing information. Her fingers trace a particularly stark comparison. This Juan Miguel and Brian, both hired the same week 3 years ago. Look at the difference. The numbers tell a damning story. Nearly $7,000 annual difference for identical positions. There's more, Sarah continues, revealing spreadsheets tracking shift assignments, section rotations, and tip averages. I've calculated the impact minority staff earn 22 to 34% less annually due to combined factors: base pay, shift quality, section assignment, and adjusted tip share requirements. James examines a chart showing scholarship application outcomes. You applied multiple times? Sarah's expression tightens. 3 times. 3? Perfect grades, manager recommendations, everything required, always rejected. She produces rejection letters alongside acceptance letters for other applicants with similar or lesser qualifications. The pattern is unmistakable. The most recent rejection came with a note suggesting I might not be the right fit for leadership development. Sarah's voice remains steady despite the obvious injustice. Meanwhile, they approved Brian, who has lower grades and less seniority. James studies each document carefully, controlling his growing anger. Why haven't you reported this? To whom? HR reports to regional management to Robert. The anonymous ethics line is a joke. Complaints disappear. Corporate visits are choreographed performances with representative staff carefully selected. Sarah's composure momentarily breaks. I tried documenting everything, thinking if I had enough evidence, someone would listen. And the equal pay hotline card I saw? External advocacy group. They're building a case but need more people willing to go on record. She hesitates. Most can't risk their jobs. I've been careful keeping copies of everything, never using company computers, documenting in ways that can't be traced back to me. James notices a final document, a scholarship program brochure featuring a familiar face. His sister Emily's photo appears alongside glowing statistics about opportunities provided. The Wilson Family Scholarship Program, Sarah says with a sad smile. Beautiful on paper. The owner's sister runs it, but I doubt she knows what's really happening. The rejection decisions happen at Robert's level. The revelation hits James like a physical blow. Not only has discrimination flourished under Robert's leadership, but his own sister's program has been weaponized as part of the system. 1 semester away from your degree? James asks. Sarah nods. Business management with an emphasis in hospitality. I wanted to help run places like this, fair places where everyone has real opportunity. Her laugh holds no humor. Ironic, right? Why stay? Limited options, schedule flexibility for classes when they don't change it last minute, healthcare for my mother. She straightens her shoulders. And honestly, someone needs to document this. If we all leave, nothing changes. James makes his decision. May I keep these overnight? I'll return everything tomorrow. Sarah hesitates. These copies are yours to keep. I have originals secured elsewhere. Her eyes meet his directly. What are you going to do with them? Something that should have been done a long time ago. As Sarah leaves, James remains at the table, examining each piece of evidence. The smoking gun isn't just in his hands, it's an arsenal. That night, he calls Lisa and Anita. I have everything we need. It's time to end this. The Wilson Diner's corporate headquarters occupies the top floor of a modest office building downtown. At 8:30 a.m., Executives and regional managers gather in the conference room for their monthly performance review, with the addition of meeting the new owner, who most have yet to encounter. Robert Miller sits confidently at the table, quarterly reports arranged before him. His presentation notes highlight record profits and efficiency improvements across all locations. "Where is he?" Robert asks the CFO seated beside him. "Shouldn't the new boss be prompt for his first meeting?" The door opens. Conversations halt as James enters wearing an impeccable suit, followed by Lisa Morris and a woman nobody recognizes, Anita Patel, the company's outside counsel. "Good morning," James says, his voice carrying quiet authority. "Thank you all for coming." Robert rises, hand extended. "Mr. Wilson, welcome. We've prepared a comprehensive overview of operations." "That won't be necessary," James interrupts, not taking Robert's hand. "We have a different agenda today." Lisa distributes folders to each person. "Please review these materials carefully." Confusion spreads across the room as executives open their folders. Inside, they find copies of the evidence Sarah provided, alongside James's own documentation from his undercover work. "What is this?" Robert demands, flipping through payroll comparisons. "Evidence of systematic discrimination throughout Wilson diners," James states flatly. "Pay disparities, scheduling manipulation, promotion bias, and scholarship discrimination, all appearing to target employees based on race." The room erupts in murmurs. Robert's face flushes. "These are isolated incidents taken out of context," he protests. "Our metrics-based system optimizes operations based purely on performance data." "Interesting explanation," James replies. "Perhaps you can clarify the different evaluation criteria applied to different employees, or explain why minority staff consistently receive less favorable schedules despite identical qualifications." James activates a presentation screen showing side-by-side comparisons of employee evaluations. The criteria differences are highlighted in red. "Or maybe," James continues, "you can explain this." The screen changes to show scholarship rejection rates, 95% for minority applicants versus 35% for white applicants with identical or lesser qualifications. "Where did you get these files?" Robert demands. "This is a violation of confidentiality protocols. I got them while working as a server at Westside location for the past 2 weeks. James removes the glasses from his Mark disguise and places them on the table. "Apparently your optimization system doesn't recognize owners either." Stunned silence fills the room. "This is ridiculous," Robert finally sputters. "You can't possibly understand the complex metrics we use to maximize profitability. Every decision is business-based." "Is that so?" James gestures to Anita, who distributes legal documents. "What you're looking at," Anita explains professionally, "is a preliminary assessment of liability exposure under federal employment discrimination laws. Conservative estimates put potential damages at 8 figures before considering punitive damages or reputation harm." Security guards appear at the door, not to remove James, but at his request. "Mr. Miller, your employment is terminated, effective immediately," James states. "Security will escort you to collect personal belongings." "You can't do this!" Robert stands abruptly. "I've increased profits by 22% in 3 years. By creating a 2-tiered system that violates both the law and everything my father built this company to stand for." James's voice remains measured, but intensifies. "You didn't just betray these employees, Robert. You betrayed my father's legacy, and you betrayed everything this company was built to stand for." Robert looks around for support, finding none. Even his closest allies are staring at the evidence before them. "The rest of you have a choice," James continues, addressing the room. "Those who knowingly participated in discrimination will be terminated. Those who suspected but remained silent will have one opportunity to be part of the solution." The conference room door opens again. Emily Wilson enters, her expression a mixture of shock and determination after reviewing the evidence James sent her overnight. "The scholarship program will be completely restructured," she announces, All rejections from the past 3 years will be reviewed independently. Those who were wrongfully denied will receive retroactive funding. Robert, now being escorted toward the door, makes a final attempt. This company exists to make money. Everything I did increased profitability. At what cost? James challenges. Our legal and ethical obligations? Our company values? The livelihoods and dignity of our employees? As Robert exits, James turns back to the remaining executives. This company was founded on principles of fairness and opportunity. Today, we begin restoring those principles. James nods to Lisa, who activates the conference room's video system. On screen, employees at all locations gather in break rooms and offices, watching a live broadcast. To all Wilson Diners employees, James addresses the camera directly. You may know me as Mark Stevens, a new server who worked alongside many of you recently. In reality, I am James Wilson, son of founder Thomas Wilson and the new owner. Gasps and murmurs can be heard from the video feeds. What some of you experienced wasn't just unfair, it was wrong and illegal. Today, that changes. James's voice carries firm conviction. Effective immediately, we're implementing comprehensive reforms to restore equality and opportunity for every employee, regardless of race, gender, or background. On screen, Sarah's expression transforms from shock to cautious hope. Those responsible for discrimination are being removed. Those who were harmed will receive justice. And Wilson Diners will once again become a place where everyone, both customers and staff, truly gets a seat at the table. In the conference room, James turns to the executives. Now, let's discuss exactly how we make this right. 1 week after the confrontation, employees file into the West Side location before opening hours. The usual pre-shift tension is replaced by nervous anticipation. James stands at the front, no longer in disguise. Beside him are Lisa Chen, Emily Wilson, and Anita Patel. A projector displays Wilson Diners Reset on the wall. Thank you for coming, James begins. Last week, we uncovered systematic discrimination throughout our company. Today, we start fixing it, not with vague promises, but with concrete actions and accountability. Lisa steps forward with transparent charts showing the new organizational structure. Effective immediately, we've removed 7 managers who knowingly participated in discriminatory practices. 5 others have accepted demotions with supervision requirements. More importantly, James continues, we're implementing structural changes to prevent this from happening again. He unveils the first reform, a transparent pay scale chart showing clear criteria for each position and experience level. This isn't about charity or quotas, James emphasizes. This is about returning to the meritocracy my father actually intended, where your work and character determine your success, not your background. Emily presents the next slide, a complete scholarship program overhaul. We've identified 43 employees who were wrongfully denied scholarships, she explains. Each will receive retroactive funding, including 18 who will receive full tuition reimbursement for completed education. Sarah, seated in the front row, blinks back tears as Emily hands her an envelope. Inside is a scholarship certificate covering her final semester plus reimbursement for previous educational expenses. Second, James continues, we're implementing a blind scheduling system. Shifts will be assigned based on seniority, performance, and availability, with all data visible to everyone. The projector displays the new digital scheduling platform where staff can see exactly how shifts are distributed and why. No more mysterious optimization. Third, section rotations. Everyone works every section on a fair rotation. No more premium versus basic designations. James unveils the new table assignment system, eliminating coded customer classifications. All guests receive our best service. Period. Fourth, we're establishing an independent ethics review board with representatives from every location and position level. They'll have direct access to me and our legal team. Anita steps forward. Any complaint will be investigated thoroughly, with whistleblower protections guaranteed. No retaliation will be tolerated. Fifth, compensation adjustments. James reveals the most significant change. We've calculated the financial impact of discriminatory practices on each affected employee. Lisa distributes sealed envelopes. These contain 2 items: back pay calculations covering discriminatory losses over the past 3 years, and an adjusted current pay rate aligned with our new transparent scale. Around the room, employees open their envelopes. Gasps and tears follow as some discover substantial back pay amounts, representing years of unfair wage differences. This isn't a gift, James emphasizes. This is money you earned that was wrongfully withheld. The room falls silent as Miguel, a busser with 5 years' service, stands up. I can pay off my mom's medical bills with this. His voice breaks. Thank you for seeing us. Don't thank me, James responds. This should never have been necessary. My family name was on the door while this happened. For that, I apologize. James introduces the final component: leadership development. We're creating a management training program open to all employees based solely on performance and commitment. Our goal is having leadership that reflects the communities we serve. He turns to Sarah. Sarah Johnson will help design this program as our new Director of Employee Development, should she accept the position. Sarah's shock is visible. But I haven't even finished my degree. Which you'll complete with full company support, James confirms. Your experience, education, and demonstrated integrity make you exactly who we need in leadership. James addresses the entire staff. Today isn't just about compensation. It's about dignity, opportunity, and building systems that work fairly for everyone. He unveils new mission statement signage. Good food, fair wages, equal opportunity, no exceptions. This mission isn't new, James explains. It's what my father intended all along. We're just removing the barriers that prevented it from becoming reality. Throughout the day, similar meetings occur at every location. By evening, the company-wide reset is complete. Back at headquarters, James meets with the reformed executive team. Some investors are concerned about the financial impact, the CFO reports nervously. The back pay alone exceeds $2 million. And the discrimination liability we avoided would have been much higher, Anita interjects. Beyond that, James adds, these changes aren't just ethically necessary, they're good business. Reduced turnover, increased employee engagement, improved customer experience, and better community reputation will more than offset the costs. Emily shares early response data. Applications have increased 40% since the announcement. Our employment brand is already strengthening. Most importantly, Lisa notes, we're building systems that prevent discrimination rather than enable it. Transparency, accountability, and equal opportunity benefit everyone. James studies the revised company handbook, now containing the actual policies being followed. No more separate, supplemental guidelines. My father believed that treating people fairly wasn't just the right thing to do, it was smart business, James concludes. Today, we're proving him right. As the meeting ends, James receives a text from Sarah. Just submitted my final tuition payment. 1 semester to go. Thank you for making Wilson Diners what I always thought it could be. James smiles as he replies, thank you for having the courage to slip that note to a stranger. You changed everything. 3 months after the reforms, the West Side location hums with renewed energy. New name badges no longer indicate hierarchy through subtle color differences. Everyone's role is clearly stated with equal prominence. The morning staff meal, a new tradition, brings everyone together before opening. James, visiting unannounced, joins them at the communal table. Don't mind me, he says, taking an empty seat. I'm just here to see how things are going. The conversation flows naturally, scheduling adjustments, menu suggestions, customer feedback. No tension, no separate groups, just colleagues sharing a meal. Miguel, now a shift leader in training, describes a challenging customer situation from yesterday. I used what Sarah taught us in conflict resolution training. Totally worked. Sarah's method saved me too, laughs Tanya, a new server. Table of 12, multiple allergies, one very particular grandmother, and everyone left happy. James observes the interactions with quiet satisfaction. The cultural shift is palpable. After breakfast, he tours the restaurant with Luis, the new location manager promoted from within. Show me the scheduling system in action, James requests. Luis demonstrates the transparent digital platform. Staff preferences, availability, and rotation patterns are visible to everyone. No mysterious optimization algorithms, just clear rules fairly applied. We had our first test last week, Luis explains. Holiday weekend, everyone wanted Saturday night. The system assigned shifts based on the criteria we all agreed upon. No complaints because everyone could see exactly why decisions were made. In the dining room, James notices staff rotating through all sections, regardless of race or appearance. The previous premium versus basic distinction has disappeared. How are tips affected? James asks. Overall, they're up 15%, Luis reports. When everyone works every section and gives their best service, the whole team benefits. The customer experience is more consistent, too. James stops at the community board near the entrance. The worn Equal Pay hotline card has been replaced by a framed ethics charter and direct contact information for the new review board. Have we had any complaints through the new system? James asks. 3 minor issues, all resolved transparently, Luis confirms. Staff know they'll be heard now. Big difference. In the break room, James finds a surprise A study group of 5 employees reviewing business management materials. Sarah's influence is evident. Thursday study sessions, explains Keisha, a server studying hospitality management. Sarah started it before her promotion. We keep it going even though she's at corporate now. James notices textbooks and laptops open to coursework. 10 employees are currently pursuing higher education with company support. Later that afternoon, James attends Sarah's first official scholarship award ceremony at headquarters. 12 employees from across all locations receive educational funding, a diverse group selected through the new blind review process. Sarah, confident in her new role as Director of Employee Development, addresses the recipients. This scholarship isn't just financial support. It's a commitment to your growth and a recognition of your potential. James watches from the back of the room, seeing his father's vision finally realized. After the ceremony, he approaches Miguel, one of the scholarship recipients. Congratulations. What will you be studying? Business administration, Miguel replies proudly. 5 years ago, I started as a dishwasher thinking that was as far as I could go. Now I'm training for management and getting my degree. My son sees me studying every night, changes how he thinks about his own future. Across town, the company's first conflict under the new system is being addressed. 2 servers had disputed section assignments, bringing their concern to the ethics board. Instead of managers making unilateral decisions, the board facilitates a discussion between the employees. Together, they review the published criteria and reach a resolution both find fair. This is how it should work, Lisa observes, watching the process. Issues addressed openly based on shared principles, not hidden power dynamics. As evening approaches, James visits Sarah in her new office, formerly Robert's space, now transformed with open doors and transparent glass. How does it feel? He asks. Surreal sometimes, Sarah admits. 3 months ago, I was being told I wasn't right for leadership. Now I'm helping build pathways for others. On her desk sits a framed business management degree acceptance letter for her final semester. The team misses you at Westside, James notes. I still have lunch there weekly, Sarah smiles, but honestly, they don't need me hovering. They've taken ownership of the new systems. That's the point, James agrees. Real change happens when people believe the system works for everyone. Before leaving, Sarah shows James her latest project applications for Wilson Diners to receive a Business Ethics Award. For the first time since I started here, she says, I feel like I'm building a career, not just surviving another shift. 1 year after James went undercover, Wilson Diners hosts an anniversary celebration across all locations. At the West Side Diner where it all began, a special display catches customers' attention near the entrance. Framed side by side are two paycheck stubs, one from the old system showing disparate pay, and one from the new transparent scale. Beside them hangs a Business Ethics Award recently presented to the company, and a diverse management team photo with Sarah featured prominently. James mingles with staff and customers, no longer a stranger or undercover boss, but a familiar presence. The restaurant buzzes with energy. Servers move confidently between all sections. Customers receive consistently excellent service regardless of who they are or where they sit. Business is thriving. A discreet placard shares the numbers. Employee turnover down 60%, customer satisfaction up 32%, and revenue increased 15%, despite initial concerns about the reform costs. More telling are the individual success stories. Miguel now manages the North location while completing his business degree. 3 former servers have entered management training. Sarah leads a growing employee development department that's become a model for the industry. During a quiet moment, James and Sarah stand by the community board, now filled with employee achievements and educational milestones. "My father would have loved seeing this," James says. "You restored his vision," Sarah responds, "and made it stronger." James shakes his head. "We did. Your courage started everything." As the celebration continues, James addresses the gathered crowd briefly. "A year ago, we discovered that good intentions aren't enough. Systems perpetuate injustice until someone actively dismantles them. Today, we celebrate not just what we've corrected, but what we've built together, a company where opportunity truly belongs to everyone." He raises his glass. "To courage, accountability, and the work that continues." The message resonates beyond those present. A social media post sharing Wilson Diners' transformation includes a simple call to action. Look at your own workplace. Ask if everyone doing your job receives equal opportunity and compensation. If you see discrepancies, document patterns and speak up. Change begins with awareness and courage. Whether you're an owner, manager, or employee serving coffee, your observation could be the first step to making things right. Visit equalworkplace.org for resources on recognizing and addressing workplace discrimination. The note that Sarah slipped to a stranger 1 year ago has created ripples far beyond one diner chain, proving that justice often begins with a single brave action. If this story of courage, justice, and transformation moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button to help more people discover how one brave note changed an entire company. Subscribe to PAP Stories for more powerful undercover investigations that expose workplace injustice and celebrate leaders who make things right. New videos every week that will inspire you to recognize unfairness and take action in your own community. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next revelation of truth hiding in plain sight. Together we can create workplaces where everyone truly gets a seat at the table. PAP Stories. Because sometimes the most important truths are hiding in plain sight.